Now let's move to the third level of cooling, which is our relative set point level number 3. That's 8 degrees above our set, which is 94 degrees in this example. Okay, so if it hits 94 degrees inside that poultry barn or poultry house, it's going to run 30 seconds, so the duration is slightly longer, and it's actually going to run every 5 minutes. Okay, and I tell everyone that this is the emergency setting. This is where you are concerned that birds could be dying. So at 28 days of age, if it got to 94 degrees, you're worried that you could be losing birds, in which case we want this to run 30 seconds every 5 minutes. Okay? Now, activity promotion runtime. Okay, in seconds, that's 20 seconds. So now if we're in the activity promotion mode, it only runs 20 seconds. Idle time is 60 minutes, so 20 seconds every hour. Okay, so that, if we go back to the previous settings, at 21 days of age, from 10 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it's going to run 20 seconds every hour, or 8 times per day. And if it never reaches the set point, if it never gets to 86 degrees, it'll start that at 21 days of age and run that through the life of the flock. All it'll run is 8 times per day. Not changing any litter moisture, not creating any cooling, just creating activity, getting the birds up, getting them to the drinkers and feeders, and controlling some of the dust at the same time. Okay, the delay between the sprinklers, we have a 2-zone system here. So the way this controller is designed is it will run one end of the house for 20 seconds, then there's a 10-second delay here, and then it runs the other end of the house. So, and this is completely adjustable, as is everything, but it allows your well to get a little bit of a break, that it's only running half the sprinklers each time that it runs. Okay, we have a growth curve option here that is presently turned off. We're going to come back to that and turn it on in a few minutes, but for right now, it's off. Okay, the next one is a water meter option. This one is typically left off. You do have the ability, if you wanted to connect a pulse water meter to our controller. If you did that and turned on the water meter option, now you're going to see a whole new set of parameters. It would tell you the amount of water that it's used to date. It's going to tell you how much your sprinkler system used in water yesterday. You can put a high water alarm on it or a low water alarm, which some growers want, but to be honest, we don't have too many that use it because our system has done a great job with our backup valve and our solenoid valves of ensuring that there won't be any problems with any excessive water at any time. This temperature unit is in Fahrenheit. It can be changed back and forth to Celsius and Fahrenheit. We need to change this to a 2-zone system. You saw that it was set at 4. I've now changed it to 2, which is what we're running here. And valve number 1 is attached or selected to sensor number 1. Okay? And in this case, we have valve number 2 attached to sensor 1 because I only have one sensor here. But in a typical example, this will be changed to a 2. Valve 2 attached to sensor 2. And then you now have your sprinklers operating independently in both ends of the house on the 2 different sensors. Okay, this is just a radio frequency option, which not many of our growers are using. And now these are just software parameters. And as I said in the beginning, I'm continuing to push down. I've now reached the clock again. So we've gone through the entire list. We're back to the top, which is the clock. Okay, next thing I want to do is set up the age temperature curve. But for a grower that isn't using our age temperature curve, you've just completely programmed your controller and you would be complete at this point. We highly encourage everyone to use the age temperature curve. So let me now go through the process of showing how we set that up. Basically what this is going to do for us is we had our set point at 86 degrees at 28 days of age. We're going to have this controller automatically drop that set point as the birds get older to the point where when they get to be 56 days of age, it's going to have dropped down to 78 degrees with the same cooling levels, but starting much cooler inside the house. When we're concerned as the birds get bigger, they're under more heat stress at a lower temperature. Okay, let's go through that. First step we have to do is we have to go down to our growth day. Okay, we had the growth day here as 1. We actually have to use the minus sign and take this all the way down to 10 and turn it off. That's the first step we have to do. We then go down to our set point. We then go down and turn on the growth curve. You'll see it here in just a second. Okay, it says growth curve option is off. Let's turn it on. Okay, now we go back up using the up arrow and we go to the set point. Okay, the main set point is 86 degrees. we hold the plus minus for 2 seconds. Okay, and I want to tell you that all of this is very nicely explained in our quick setup guide. There's a separate section there that talks about setting up the age temperature growth curve, but it's basically going through the same steps that I'm going to go through right now. So you see on the left side of the screen it says day 1 or MSP curve day 1. We actually have 10 different set points that can be put in here, or we can put in a set point at day 1 and a set point towards the end of their life, and the controller will automatically ramp down from day 1 to that point, which is what we're going to do today. Okay, so we're saying here day 1 is 21 days. Our start of cooling was actually 28 days. So let's go and set that to 28. Okay, so that's when cooling starts. And our first set point we had set at 86 degrees. So let's take this down to 86. Okay, there you go. We've got our first set point at 28 days and 86 degrees. Now we go to set point number 2, or MSP curve day 2. Okay, this one says 28 days, because this one's set up to do it every week. I told you there was 10 different set points, but we're going to change this to, let's make this a flock that is actually being grown to 60 days. So it's a heavy broiler flock. Let's change this out to 56 days. Okay, so what this means is that during the last week of the bird's life, okay, so from 56 days till market, that set point is showing 88 degrees here. Let's take that down to 78. Okay, there we go, 78 degrees. So now we have our first set point at 28 days of age being 86 degrees, and the second set point being 56 days of age at 78 degrees. And that set point is going to ramp down automatically from the age of 28 days to 56, bringing that set point down with the same levels of cooling, the same 3 levels of cooling that we'd set up in the beginning. Okay, so you'll see when I go down now, it's saying day 3 is 35. We have to zero these out now because we only want the 2 days. Only the 2 points, okay? So that one we zero out. We don't worry about the setting that it had. We have to go to number 4 and zero that one out. Because again, we only want to have 2 set points in here because that's how it's going to ramp down. Okay, we go to the next one, it's at 0, and that's it. So I'm going to just go through these. You can see that there's 10 of them. There's 7, there's 8, there's 9, and there's 10. And we're back to the beginning, which was 28 days. Okay, now I want to lock it by holding the plus minus for 2 seconds. So there we go, it was 86 degrees at 28 days. So that's it, folks. Now we go back up and we set our growth day. Oops, there it was there, growth day. I had turned it off. Let's take it back to day 1. Okay, and we are ready to go, folks. So let's take this back up to the top of the list, which was the clock. And now I'm just going to walk through the parameters one more time, just so you can see how this controller has been programmed. Okay, so the clock is set here. It's saying that it's lunchtime, okay, or 8 minutes after 12 noon. The first parameter showing up here is one called suspend. Okay, it says hold plus minus for 2 seconds. If I hold this for 2 seconds, a little light's going to come up below the word suspend. The controller is now in suspension. All of the parameters have been saved, but it's not going to operate. And this is for at the end of your flock. You've now shipped out your birds, so put it into suspension, and during your downtime of 2 or 3 weeks, it's actually, the valves aren't going to be snapping away because it's in suspension, and it's waiting until you come back in, take it out of suspension, set the growth day of your new flock, and away you go with your next flock. So that's what suspend is for. The next one is a countdown timer. It's going to tell you, it says minutes and seconds, it's going to tell you the next time that it's coming on. So if this controller was operating right now, it might say, 30 minutes and 25 seconds, and it'll keep counting down so you know the next time your sprinkler is going to operate. Sprinkler test mode says hold plus minus for 2 seconds. If I hold the plus minus here, what's going to happen is the controller is going to cycle between valve number 1 and valve number 2, and it's going to do that 10 times. So on one end of the house, the sprinklers will come on for 20 seconds, 10-second delay. The other end of the house is going to run for 20 seconds, 10-second delay, and it'll do that 10 times. And sometimes you come into your poultry barn or your poultry house and you say, boy, it's dusty in here today. You can put it in test mode. It'll run 10 times in both ends and shut off. Our installers also use this program so that once they've got the system installed, they can actually walk up and down the house while the sprinklers are cycling back and forth to make sure that everything is running perfectly. There's no leaks, no problems with any of the sprinklers. Okay, our system mode we set up for activity promotion and cooling. Our growth day, we're saying the birds are 1 day old today. Okay, our cool start day is 28 days of age. The activity promotion start day is 21 days of age. Our cool start time is 9 o'clock in the morning. Our cool end time is 11 o'clock at night, 11:01 as I described earlier. Okay, our activity promotion start time is 10 o'clock in the morning. Our activity promotion end time is 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Our room temperature right now is 74 degrees. Our main set point is 86. Remember, that's at 28 days of age. Okay, if it hits 86, they run 20 seconds every 30 minutes, or twice per hour. Okay, if they get to 90 degrees, or 4 degrees above, they'll run 20 seconds every 15 minutes, or 4 times per hour. If it gets to 94 degrees in there, or 8 degrees above the set point, it's going to run 30 seconds every 5 minutes, because we're worried that our birds may be suffering from heat prostration and dying, and therefore we're going to keep them alive. Okay? And remember, our activity promotion is 20 seconds every hour. Okay? Remember what I said though, that age temperature curve, at 28 days it's 86. By the time those birds get to be 56 days old, that has dropped down to 78 degrees. So our first level of cooling is 78 degrees, it goes to 20 seconds every 30 minutes. At 82 degrees, it goes to 20 seconds every 15 minutes. And if it got to 86 degrees in there, it's going to run 30 seconds every 5 minutes when the birds are 56 days old, excuse my tongue-tied, or older. Okay? Our delay between sprinklers is 10 seconds. We have the growth curve turned on right now. We're not using a water meter. Our temperature's in Fahrenheit. It's a 2-valve system. Sensor 1 is attached to valve number 1. In your case, it would be sensor 2 attached to valve number 2. There we still had it attached to valve number 1. We're not using radio frequency, and now we're into the software configurations, and we are back to the top of the list, which is the clock. So I hope that this has helped you understand our controller. We like to think it's pretty user-friendly. Remember, you can go up and down this list at any time, and you cannot affect anything that the controller is going to do. All your changes are made with the plus and minus. Typically, it's holding them for 2 seconds. So there you go, folks. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to call the number that's on the screen, and we have several technicians that would be more than happy to help you out.